Well, we definitely have a couple things to talk about today when it regards to the Philadelphia Eagles. Haason Reddick had an interview, interesting, and I want to kind of go over Haason Reddick in general, even the past, season with the Philadelphia Eagles, going into his second year with the Eagles, which is great, and just a few things he did talk about. I'll read some quotes and some stuff that he did say in his little interview that he had. I want to go over the running back core as well, and a stat that really needs to improve, and I think it will tremendously, where the Eagles will be from dead last to probably top 5 in the league with this stat with the running back. So, let's get straight into it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Hope you're having a fantastic day. So I'm going to go over some news for the Philadelphia Eagles. A couple things I definitely want to talk about here since we get day by day closer to training camp. Now, the most important part to our team, is besides the quarterback position, is the offensive line and defensive line. But we're going to go into the defensive line right now. And with Haason Reddick, that had he had an interview, and it was an interesting one. Reddick is an interesting story because he was drafted in 2017, the pick before the Eagles, and even after his 12 and a half sack season with the Cardinals in 2020, a lot of people were saying that maybe he just had a fluke year. It was a lucky year for him, and then obviously went to the Panthers in 21 and got 11 sacks that year, and then taking a huge pay cut to come to the Philadelphia Eagles, because really, guys, he could have got paid a lot of money, and obviously played at Temple, has always wanted to play in Philadelphia, and I think he absolutely loves it here. And honestly, kind of thinking ahead too much, but I honestly think that Reddick is a really, really big candidate for maybe an extension or something like that. Could be, we'll see, but I won't go too ahead of myself right now. He just has so much ties into the city in general, which is great. So I absolutely love it with him. Interesting enough, okay, Haason Reddick had 19 and a half sacks for the year, 3.5 in the playoffs. He had 16 for the year. 16 is highest. Okay, 3 years, double-digit sacks, and I think he's the third or fourth best player to do it. I mean, it's just insane. You literally on the edge last year have a cerebral hunter on the edge. Quarterbacks have to know where this guy is lined up. I love defensive ends that get that much attention, and he really does. You drafted Nolan Smith, and who's the comparable player to Nolan Smith? Even though, Nolan Smith studies Von Miller a lot and is a big fan of Von Miller, they could, the draft, analysis compared him to Haason Reddick, a guy that he is going to be learning from on this team going into this year, which is another huge thing of having Graham and having Brandon Graham still here, and even having Haason Reddick here. It's only going to make Nolan Smith even better, which is a fantastic thing. Now, Reddick, this is what Reddick had to say. This was from, I don't know what, this was a podcast or whatever the case. I think it was his annual football camp. I think that's what it was from. So, he thinks that he's going to have a higher season statistically with the Philadelphia Eagles. So he said, quote unquote, "I'm in great shape. As crazy as it sounds, I feel like if there's still more levels for me to tap into." Oh my God. "I'm extremely excited and looking to build on another great year. I want to continue the progress on what I did and what the team did last year. We know our ultimate goals, but it starts with us striving for constant success." And he's right, man. I mean, he's totally right. He thinks he has a bigger ceiling. I think he does. I think he was underutilized beginning of the season last year. Remember when Gannon went to that press conference and he was like, "Oh yeah, I shouldn't have Haason Reddick in coverage so much." Like he had those, this defensive coordinator was so stupid. I just don't get it. And look, I knew that they were going to do something with that with Haason Reddick during the year last year in 22, but I didn't think they were going to do it with him that much. And, 19 and a half sacks could have turned to probably close to 30 sacks. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even being biased. I feel like he would have 6 to 10 more sacks if they didn't do that with him. And I felt like they would have done so much more with Haason Reddick. You have to focus on Haason Reddick just getting after the quarterback this year, okay? Now, since Sean Desai is here, use Nolan Smith as an outside linebacker, drop him in coverage as a defensive end, whatever packages you have set for Nolan Smith, because obviously Nolan Smith is probably the fastest and quickest, most as athletic defensive lineman we have on this team right now. Okay, just by a standpoint of that, even though everybody is good, you can't pass up on a season with Haason Reddick, going in cover. Like I look, they might do it with him. I don't know. I don't know what Sean Desai's plan is. But I'm telling you right now, man, Haason Reddick, like, I was so excited for him to play last year, and man, what a value we got him at, and loyalty to the city, and just wanting to play for Philadelphia, and like, he remembers all these things. Obviously, he wanted to play here so bad, or wanted to get a chance to play here so bad. Like, he was talking about, I was the pick for the Eagles. Like, he really wanted to get drafted by the Eagles that year. Obviously, we got Derek Barnett, and that was really a one-year wonder in that. But now he's going to be playing next. Now he's going to be playing, with Derek Barnett that was drafted here. So, which is kind of crazy. So I feel like Haason Reddick could have an over 20 sack season. I'm not even kidding. I mean, I'm not even joking. I mean, now with Nolan Smith here, now with Jalen Carter here, you have great depth at defensive tackle. I think they have to at least add one more body at defensive end if they really want to make this even more successful than it already is. I think there's just full ceiling. And Haason Reddick, man, like, he's got this year on contract, next year on contract, then he's a free agent. So regardless, we have Reddick for this year and next year, which is great. So it really, it's more mentorship towards Nolan Smith, and even not even just Nolan Smith, by Josh Sweat and some of these other guys. You know what I mean? Like, everybody is learning every single year and getting better every single year, and that's really all that matters. You know what I mean? So if they want to go out and sign a Jadeveon Clowney, or they want to go out and get Yannick Ngakoue that just hired his new agent in Drew Rosenhaus, then yeah, I mean, you can always add another body, but strictly with Haason Reddick, I think I think he'll have 20 or more. I honestly think he can get 20 to more sacks. I'm not even kidding. If he's purely edge, of course he's going to get more sacks. I mean, we knew when he was getting taken out. I mean, his percentages were so off being on the edge. He was mostly in coverage early in the season, and it was almost disgusting. Like, it was just like, I understand Carolina and Arizona kind of, unfortunately, like with Arizona, like, I don't think Reddick really played well until like the last year of his deal. And that's when he signed that 1 year in Carolina. And you know what I mean? Like, they didn't really get the most out of Haason Reddick early in his career. Really, like, he flourished like his last, the year before. Probably 2019 and 2020 were like both those years where he was really starting to take stride and they were using him the right way. And I feel like Gann was just being way too balanced with him, putting him in too much pass coverage. And, and there's nothing wrong with that. He got some deflections out of it, but, then your defensive line loses help. So it's not like, you know what I mean? So then you have to replace Reddick with somebody else if he's dropped. It just depends. It depends like what the packages look like, what they're doing. I didn't like what Gannon did with him. So I could say this could be a 20 plus sack season, even more. I mean, he could probably get 30 sacks. I mean, I'm not even, like I said, I'm not being biased. I just think it's that realistic right now. If he thinks he could tap into another level, I think it's going to happen. You know what I mean? I honestly do. Haason Reddick has just been a beast, and can't complain about it at all. Now, last thing I do want to talk about is the running back core. Okay, now, I actually read a stat this morning. I was like, wow. This was one of the dead last teams in reception yardage from running backs for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm really not surprised. I'm really not, because I think Miles Sanders has been has been not utilized the right way. I haven't really, since Miles has been here. Besides Miles' rookie year, he's been underutilized. Even obviously he's had catching problems, fumbling problems, So I get it. You know what I mean? Like, maybe Nick just didn't have much trust in some of these running backs. Gainwell has been a pretty good running back for us. A very, doesn't have some specialty running skill set, but man, this guy can make people miss on a dime. This guy could, he's got moves. He can, like I said, 9 out of 10 times, he's always making the guy miss in open space. If it's a one-on-one, he's making the guy miss. Gainwell has come a far way as a 5th-round pick from Memphis, and Memphis has produced some, pretty good running backs, pretty productive ones. And Gainwell has been fantastic. Now, I don't want to phase him out, but his contract is dwindling right now. Now with having DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny at low risk, high reward type moves that were very cheap. I mean, you gave up a 5th round, a 25 4th round pick, a 25 4th round pick for DeAndre Swift, and you got Penny for $600,000. But both of these guys have been injured in the past. Swift not as bad as Penny, but Penny is pretty. When it comes to the injury history, it's not great. But you keep one of these guys healthy, sky's the limit. I think Swift is going to be the focal point here. Okay. Get these guys in the passing game. Okay. Obviously, I think Penny at 100% healthy is better than Miles Sanders. I think it's better than what we had last year. I think DeAndre Swift is way better than Miles Sanders by a mile. And some people tell me, some people say it's not true, or how is he better? DeAndre Swift cuts on a dime. DeAndre Swift's got elite vision. I mean, he could change direction and go 100%. I mean, he doesn't dance. He's really good. His vision takes him a long way with the rest of his skill that he has and his athleticism. It's crazy. Imagine putting DeAndre Swift in this passing game, what it would do for the Rashad Penny. I mean, I wouldn't even use Rashad Penny for that. Really, just Swift and Gainwell if that's what they really want to do. And obviously, you have Boston Scott on the roster as well. But this different skill sets of running backs you have, and most of them can catch passes out of the backfield. And the Eagles were dead 31st, almost dead last. Okay, in reception, I think they only had a little over 200 yards receptions, a little over 200 yards in receptions for the running backs last year, which is kind of crazy. So they have to get just imagine you got the wide receivers. Okay, you got this great offensive line. You have a great tight end. You have Jalen Hurts and his legs, plus these running backs that what are these defenses going? How are these defenses going to cover? You know what I mean? Now, interesting enough, okay, Brian Johnson, when he was the offensive coordinator at Florida, because he hasn't been an offensive coordinator since Florida. That's the last time. He's been the QB coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. Done a really good job with Jalen Hurts. Last time Brian Johnson was the offensive coordinator, he loves utilizing the running backs in the passing game. And that's a really good sign, because you know what? At the end of the day, you know what I mean? We have a very deep group of running backs right now. So God forbid somebody gets hurt, someone will always get more snaps, and that's perfectly fine. But I'm telling you right now, if Penny and Swift stay healthy, or at least one of them stay healthy, and I have a good feeling they will, the health for the Eagles, or guys coming to the Eagles the past 2 years have been pretty good injury-wise for the Eagles. Nothing crazy. If that happens, man, watch out. Just imagine A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert going on their routes. This offensive line's protection. And then you got Jalen Hurts extending plays with his legs, and these running backs are just running routes on top of it. It's going to be unfair. I feel like that's what was missing from this offense last year, was getting that running backs more involved. You know what I mean? I understand we had a 1,000-yard running back. I get it, but the passing game is totally different. Wheel routes, if it's man-to-man coverage, these linebackers aren't going to hold up with Rashad Penny. They're not going to hold up with DeAndre Swift. You kidding me right now? They're not going to even hold up. These guys are going to get burned. They're going to get burned so bad. Not only if these running backs go upfield, it takes a defensive guy out of the play, and Hurts might have a bunch of lanes just to run and slide and get easy first downs. That's how much these running backs are going to help him. Not just that, but we might not have to do those QB sneaks anymore and put Hurts' body in jeopardy every time. Because you know what? With mobile quarterbacks, guys, unfortunately, I'm not against Jalen Hurts running with the football in his hands. Don't get me wrong. It's great, but these mobile quarterbacks get taking a lot of hits. Now, Hurts was more smart last year, because even after the shoulder injury and before the shoulder injury last year, he was sliding. He was protecting himself. His rookie year, or pretty much in 21, he was not as protective with himself. And I thought he protected himself a little bit better. But obviously, if it's a Super Bowl, if it's a playoff game, And depending on how many points you're up by, you're either going to just take a hit or whatever. You have to get yards. You have to fight for your team. And when a game is on the line, you got to do what you got to do. I get it. You know what I mean? I totally get it 100%. But I am telling you right now, this is, man, I am praying. These defenses better get a Bible, man, and start praying, because I don't know how you're going to defend this. If Brian Johnson utilizes these running backs into the passing game, it's I don't even know what's going to happen. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be nuts. So, other than that, guys, pretty much it. We talked about Haason Reddick and him having a higher ceiling, a higher year this year, and I totally believe he could do it. There's no doubt about it. And obviously, we talked about the running back core. What do you think about the running back core? Do you think they'll be one of the top teams getting these running backs into the passing game? You guys let me know. I think it's really interesting. I mean, I didn't even really know that stat. I really never paid attention to it, and I saw it today on Twitter, and I was like, the Eagles are almost dead last in reception yards from running backs. I mean, that's kind of crazy, right? But it definitely makes sense, because Gainwell was really our only guy that was getting balls out of the backfield, or at least going out for passes. So really or Boston Scott here and there, nothing much with him, but more really Kenneth Gainwell. So, want to know what you guys think about the running back core in general. Do you think Brian Johnson will get these running backs involved in the passing game, which I think would be really cool? So, if you guys laughed this long in this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video as well. We'll have more updates for you guys every single day. And, we're just waiting on training camp, and I can't wait to see these guys on the field again. I mean, I know it's just training camp, but I'm pretty pumped about it. But you guys have a fantastic day. Enjoy the rest of your work week, and I will see you guys on the next one. SHAKESQUAD up, follow, slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.